from Wildcat. I want to take this opportunity to thank Stacy. They didn't award many of these literacy grants. How many did they do across the country?
I put it on the
5?
list because it was.
I mean, we
like
are
12.
extremely fortunate.
One of 12.
One of 12. That's across the country. So I want to take the opportunity again to thank Stacy, as always, a great grant writer, and the team for all the work that you do. And I know we're going to always have the support we need because we've been doing this a long time. So we really appreciate the whole crew out there. It's the time sometimes that gets us hung up in Colorado and New York. But we're good otherwise. But again, thank you. We are the lead on this particular grant, so we want to welcome you and also to thank you for coming here today and the honored guests that are also joining us and presenters. So we really appreciate you being here and doing it as part of our grant.
And usually my job focuses on horrible things that can happen at school. So not only do I love reading personally, I love this grant, and I love a grant where we don't have to talk about that at all, ever, during this grant. So very excited. It is one of my favorite grants. So on the first slide, it just has our agenda. I'm on the second page that talks about the literacy grant. So I'll refer to it all the time by the acronym IAL, the Innovative Approaches to Literacy Grant. It's through the U.S. Department of Education. You can see I included their formal description of the grant. It runs on the federal fiscal year, so 10/1/23 to 9/30/28, or a 5-year grant period. On October 5th, and tell you your start date was October 1st. So you're already behind the 8 ball from the get-go. But there's some procedural things, some just signing of forms and stuff to get you started. So we will definitely have a no-cost extension. So our grant will run through 9/30/2029. We're really just starting today. We've gotten several things in place, contracts signed, so we're ready to go. Very exciting that we can do some fun things for literacy this spring, summer, and getting ready for next school year. So as Ron said, this is a highly competitive grant. Any grant, a federal grant, is highly competitive. They don't usually run for this grant concurrent cohorts, which means you have a grant that's 5 years, they don't offer it again until those 5 years has ended. This grant used to be 3 years. So they've extended it to 5. I think with any grant, you need at least 5 years to try and make a change. So for whatever reason, out of the blue, 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, we got notification they were going to run another literacy grant. And I was like, oh, that's weird, because they're already in the middle of a cohort. And we applied. They had a smaller amount of money. The interesting thing for this grant, one of the few grants through Department of Ed, you don't have to be an LEA to apply. So if you were Unite for Literacy, you could apply yourself as long as you're surveying K-12 kids. So here's the list. 12 people across the country got this grant. We are one of them. So we're very excited about this. And you can see on the list, a lot of these organizations are not schools. So we're very excited about that. The next page is just our absolute priorities. Absolute priorities are things that the government requires everyone do who receives the grant. So they want projects carried out in coordination with school libraries for book distribution, childhood literacy activities, or both. Projects carried out in coordination with school libraries that provide a learning environment that is racially, ethnically, culturally, disability status, and linguistically responsive and inclusive, supportive, and identity safe. That was a little bit of a mouthful. So what that really means is they have it a priority this year. One of the requirements is that we give books to students to take in their home. That's an absolute priority, that we use grant funds to buy books for them to come home. They want to make sure that the books that we're giving them are reflective of the community that we serve. So we're very excited that Juan is here. He's been doing this. Stacy has talked so much about it, how wonderful your program is. So I'm so glad that you're here today to share with us for that. But when we purchase these books, we want to keep that in mind, that that we're again purchasing books that are reflective of the community. Lesson plans into their program. We just had a client just do that, and they loved it. So they said it was amazing. They thought it was fun. Some of the adults told me that they thought they liked it more than the kids would.
Here we have this year of the program. program that we carry out every year since 2007. I'm the co-founder of the Hispanic Latino Cultural Center of New York, a non-for-profit organization. Sergio is also part of the organization. And we started up in 2007, and we came here with Senator Jose Barat at that time. I met with him and I proposed him this program. And then we came to Stacy, and Stacy since then have partnered with us. Every year we bring here, it's a weekend, literacy, reading and poetry, plays, representation. And then every year we meet here, I'm gonna give you more details, but this, you can take it, this is the last 2 years I brought you. And here, I don't do this often. Those are my books. This is my PhD dissertation. It's based on blackness and Haitianism in the literature of the Dominican diaspora. And this is a short story. I write in Spanish. Pero Suelto, this is police brutality. And those are short stories where I play with the writing and creative narrative techniques. Each short story is different, and this is the version in Spanish. 2022, we have Pablo Garcia Gomez. Pablo Garcia Gomez, he is Venezuelan. He's a master on playwrights. In 2023, we have another Chilean writer, Gustavo Gac Artigas. Gustavo Gac Artigas, he is a poet that he's being exiled. He have lived in 5 different countries. Being exiled. So, besides the main writer, we bring more than 40 writers. Sometimes 50 writers is too much. And I'm gonna show you the program. Oh, that was the first year. That was the first year, and that's Gregory Gavasa. That's history. That's Gregory Gavasa. He was my professor at Queen's College, and I did my first master's there. And I thought he never would come to the neighborhood, so I called him up, and he said, "Fine, I'll be there." I said, "I provide you the transportation." He said, "Fine." Then we have him here. So, and we have Senator Peralta. Senator Peralta passed away. He lost a lot in the community, and the organization lost a lot also.
An honor, a pleasure, and a very educational experience for many of the students. Again, they got to meet renowned authors such as Julia Alvarez. They got to meet Juno Diaz, which was very interesting because I was nervous for that one. Yeah, because the session.
He's a writer.
No, but the session before, because they meet them on Saturday. So on Friday there was a humongous amount of people. There was newspapers, and I was like, okay, these kids. And I didn't know what to expect with Juno Diaz with regards to the private session, but he was wonderful, and the kids enjoyed it a lot. There also we got to meet. I think some of my students got to meet Desde Mirabal when she came in. So they don't just meet the author, but if they can't be on that session, they come and they meet the other contemporary authors, and then we have a reflective period once they come back on Monday, what they've learned, what they see. And one of the biggest thing is that some of the students have expressed that interest in writing. And then in October, they're going to have a spot to read. So we're actually going through this whole big process this semester. The kids are very excited.
We're getting there.
And the works are being edited by an author also. He's from Nicaragua, Carlos Aleman. And the whole process is actually interesting. And it was interesting seeing how engaged the students were. They came up with the theme, and it was kind of interesting. The theme that they chose, which was a theme of pain, although I figured because we came back from the pandemic, there's a lot of things they want to express written. So they're doing the editing now. One of the students is actually doing the illustrations for the stories and for the cover. And then once the writing piece is edited, or the writing pieces are edited, then we're looking into the publication. So, and again, this piece that we're doing this year is very exciting, not only for myself, but for the students, because I didn't know how they were gonna be really engaged in creating their pieces and being like, oh, it's gonna get published into a book. As a matter of fact, it's funny because sometimes I think they envision the book is just for them, of their piece, but I keep saying it's 28 literary short stories. It's an anthology. So, but they're very excited, and each of them is gonna receive their copy of the book once it comes out.
Thank you, that was
Thank you.
so great, thank you.
We've got kids that are saying, yeah, I have 26 to 100 books in my home. These are eighth graders. 26 to 100 books in my home, and I read every day or almost every day. And so 54% of those kids are scoring at or above proficient. This is interesting that it drops back down. They have 100 books, but they don't hardly read them, but they're still doing better than their peers that have fewer books in their home. I want to predict what's happening here. So now we're getting into that upper right-hand corner where I want to see every kid in the country get into this upper right-hand corner. So even that L in that upper right-hand corner, we've got in that upper right-hand corner, 74% of the kids, eighth graders, are scoring at or above proficient. Compared to the lower left-hand corner, 14%. So these guys are 4 to 5 times more likely to score at or above proficient if they have an abundance of books in their home and they have found the joy of reading. They are readers.